January 16th, 1942, 11:47 hours, Culis, Bataan Peninsula, Philippines. Sergeant Jose Calugas, Battery B, 88th Field Artillery Regiment, Philippine Scouts, watched through binoculars as Japanese artillery found Battery M. 1,000 yards ahead, American gunners fell. The battery commander died instantly. 4 75mm guns, the only artillery preventing Japanese breakthrough to Mariveles, went silent. Standard procedure said, "Wait for orders." Artillery sergeants don't run into direct fire zones. Calugas stood up. "I'm going." His battery commander grabbed his arm. "That's suicide. Those guns die, we all die." In the next 67 minutes, one Filipino sergeant would sprint 1,000 yards under direct fire, reorganize a shattered battery, and fire one gun alone, 40 rounds while shells landed within 20 yards. He stopped 5 Japanese infantry assaults and saved 78,000 American and Filipino troops from immediate annihilation. This is how one man's refusal to follow procedure changed the Battle of Bataan. Jose Calugas was born 1907 in Barrio Tagsing, Leon, Iloilo Province, Philippines. His father worked a small rice farm. Jose was eldest of 6 children, poor but not destitute. At 16, he walked 30 miles to Iloilo City and enlisted in the Philippine Scouts, elite Filipino soldiers in the U.S. Army. The Scouts were the best jungle fighters, best marksmen, highest standards. Calugas passed on first attempt. He was assigned to the 88th Field Artillery Regiment, headquartered at Fort Stotsenburg near Manila. He learned gunnery, trajectories, powder charges, fuse settings. He could compute firing solutions faster than most officers. By 1940, he was a sergeant, Battery B's senior NCO. December 8, 1941 changed everything. Japanese aircraft hit Clark Field, destroying half the U.S. Far East Air Force on the ground. Within weeks, 43,000 Japanese troops landed at Lingayen Gulf. General MacArthur ordered retreat to Bataan Peninsula. By January 1942, 78,000 American and Filipino troops were compressed into Bataan, a mountainous jungle finger 25 miles long. Supply situation: catastrophic. USAFFE went on quarter rations. Disease spread: malaria, dysentery, dengue. Men ate horses, then monkeys, then nothing. But the 88th Field Artillery had position. Battery M held the critical spot at Culis, covering the Abuque line, the main defensive position. If Mariveles fell, the entire peninsula collapsed. If Battery M fell, Mariveles became indefensible. On January 16, 1942, at 11:45 hours, Japanese artillery found Battery M's exact coordinates. By mid-January 1942, the Abuque line was a killing ground. Japanese forces, the 65th Brigade and 16th Division, launched wave attacks. USAFFE artillery was the only thing keeping them back. Statistics were grim. American and Filipino forces outnumbered 3-1. Air support, 0. Naval support, 0. Reinforcements, 0. Battery M's position at Culis was exposed, an open ridge with minimal tree cover. Japanese artillery had been ranging them for 3 days. At 11:30 hours, January 16th, Battery M fired a harassment mission, 12 rounds against Japanese infantry. At 11:45 hours, Japanese counterbattery fire arrived. The first shell landed directly on gun number 1. Captain Harold Hargrove, battery commander, was killed instantly. 3 crew members died. Second shell hit gun number 2's ammunition cache. 40 rounds exploded simultaneously. Gun number 2 destroyed. 5 men dead. Third shell landed between gun number 3 and gun number 4. Both guns survived, but crews scattered. Standard procedure: take cover during counter-battery fire. But the shelling didn't stop. Japanese artillery had perfect range. Shells fell every 20 seconds. They were systematically eliminating Battery M. Lieutenant James Morrison, executive officer, tried to rally crews. "Get back on the guns!" Nobody moved. This wasn't cowardice. This was survival. Fourth shell killed Morrison. By 11:47 hours, 2 minutes into the barrage, Battery M was combat ineffective. Commander, dead. Executive officer, dead. Senior NCO, wounded, incapacitated. Gun number 1, damaged. Gun number 2, destroyed. Gun number 3, operational, crew scattered. Gun number 4, operational, crew scattered. 4 guns. 0 crews manning them. The Japanese knew. Infantry began massing 2,000 yards northeast. They were preparing an assault. If Battery M didn't resume fire in 10 minutes, Japanese infantry would break through. The Abuke line would collapse. 78,000 troops would be forced into southern Bataan jungles with no defensive positions. Total annihilation was perhaps 30 minutes away. Sergeant First Class Eugene Parker, wounded senior NCO, tried giving orders from the ground. His voice couldn't carry over artillery impacts. Men pressed into shell craters, trying to become invisible. Battery M, 4 75mm guns that stood between Japanese breakthrough and American survival, was silent. 1,000 yards to the rear, Sergeant Jose Calugas watched through binoculars. Calugas stood at Battery B's command post, watching Battery M go silent. He saw Captain Hargrove die, saw gun number 2 explode, saw crews scatter. Captain Arnold Funk stood beside him. "Don't even think about it, Sergeant. Those guns die, sir. The whole line collapses. That's not our problem. We're reserve battery. Sir, when Battery M goes silent, Japanese infantry comes through. We're next. We get overrun in maybe 20 minutes. Funk released Calugas' arm. "You go alone. You're probably dead in 4 minutes. Probably, sir, but maybe not. Go. God help you." Calugas made his calculation. Distance, 1,000 yards. Open ground, 800 yards. Japanese artillery firing every 20 seconds. If he timed the shells, 4 minutes maybe. Then what? He'd be alone. One man can't operate a 75mm gun. Minimum crew, 4 men. Gunner, loader, ammunition handler, fuse setter. But Calugas had trained every position for 10 years. He could load, aim, fuse, and fire faster than most crews. Theory, never tested under fire. "Private Cason, you're with me." Private Benito Cason looked at Battery M, then at the shells falling. "Yes, Sergeant." At 11:47 hours, they began running. First, 200 yards through trees. Partial cover. They sprinted. Calugas counted shells. Every 23 seconds. Shell landed. Pause. Run 50 yards. Shell landed. Pause. Run. They emerged into open ground. 800 yards of exposed terrain. Japanese observers could see them. They ran anyway. Halfway across, 400 yards from Battery M, a shell landed 50 yards left. Shrapnel screamed past. Neither stopped. 300 yards. Calugas could see scattered crews in craters. Gun number 3 and gun number 4 intact but unmanned. Another shell. Close, 30 yards right. The blast knocked both men forward. They recovered, kept running. 200 yards. He could see Sergeant Parker on the ground with leg wounds, trying to shout orders. 100 yards. A shell landed where they'd been 3 seconds earlier. 50 yards. Final sprint. They dove into gun number 3's position as another shell landed 25 yards away. Dirt sprayed over them. Time elapsed. 3 minutes 47 seconds. They made it. Calugas stood up, covered in dirt, ears ringing. He looked at scattered crew members, young men terrified, pressed into craters. Another shell landed, 40 yards away. Calugas walked, not ran, walked to gun number 3. He began loading it, alone. "All crews, on your guns, now!" Nobody moved. Fine, he'd fire alone. First shots, 11:51 hours. Calugas reached gun number 3, French-designed M1897 75mm field gun, effective range 9,000 yards. The gun was intact, ammunition cache nearby. Gun crew, 0. He checked the breech, open, clean. Checked recoil mechanism, functional. The gun was perfect. He just needed to aim it, load it, fire it. 4 men's jobs. He was one man. Private Kazan scrambled up. "Sarge, what do you need?" "Ammunition." "Move!" Kazan ran to the cache 20 yards away. Japanese shell landed nearby. He grabbed 2 75mm rounds, each 13 pounds, ran back. Calugas computed firing solutions. Japanese infantry positions. Range 2,800 yards, bearing 045 degrees. He'd fired at those coordinates before. He knew the trajectory. He cranked the elevation wheel. Barrel rose. Spun the traversing wheel. Gun rotated right. On target. Kazan arrived. "Rounds ready." "Load." Kazan opened the breech, inserted the round. Calugas closed it, checked the lanyard. Another Japanese shell landed 20 yards left. The gun shook. Calugas pulled the lanyard. Boom! Gun number 3's first round left the barrel at 1,700 feet per second. Shell landed in Japanese infantry concentration. "Reload!" Kazan opened breech. Spent casing ejected. He loaded another round. Boom! Second round away. Time between shots, 11 seconds. Standard 4-man crew, 8 seconds. One man was slower, but not catastrophically slower. Third round, fourth, fifth. Gun number 3 was firing. Rally, 11:54 hours. Battery M's scattered crews watched Calugas fire. One man, alone, under direct fire. Loading, aiming, firing. Methodical, calm. Staff Sergeant Thomas Reyes, gun number 4's section chief, was in a crater 30 yards away. He watched Calugas fire 3 rounds, then stood. "Gun number 4 crew, on your gun! If Calugas can do it alone, we can do it with 8. 6 men ran to gun number 4. Japanese shell landed nearby. Nobody stopped. Reyes was a veteran, 14 years in artillery. Gun number 4 opened fire. Boom! 2 guns firing now. Corporal Miguel Santos saw both guns operating. Gun number 1 had taken a direct hit, shield damaged, trail leg bent, but barrel intact. Santos rallied 3 men. They reinforced the trail leg with timber, cleared debris. 5 minutes later, gun number 1 was ready. Boom! 3 guns firing. Calugas continued operating gun number 3. He'd fired 18 rounds in 6 minutes. Kazan was exhausted, carrying 13-pound rounds every 11 seconds. But he didn't stop. Neither did Calugas. Infantry assault, 12:07 hours. Japanese infantry, approximately 300 men from the 122nd Infantry Regiment, began their assault. They'd been waiting for Battery M to be neutralized. Instead, they found 75mm shells landing on their assembly area. First salvo killed 12 men. Second killed 18 more. Japanese infantry went to ground. But orders were clear. Assault through American artillery. break the Abuque line. They resumed advance. Calugas saw movement, infantry at 2,600 yards advancing in waves. He adjusted gun number 3's elevation. "Quezon, bring all the ammunition you can carry. We're going rapid fire." Quezon grabbed 4 rounds, 52 pounds total. He staggered back. Boom! Shell landed in Japanese formation. Airburst. Shrapnel spread 30-yard radius. Devastating. Boom! 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 Gun number 4 joined the fire mission. Sergeant Reyes shifted fire. "Target, advancing infantry, range 2600. Fire for effect." All 3 guns concentrated fire. Rate, combined 15 rounds per minute. Each 75mm shell carried 400 steel balls. 15 shells per minute equals 6,000 steel balls hitting a 200-yard front. Japanese assault collapsed. They retreated 400 yards, regrouped. Counterbattery hell, 19 hours. Japanese artillery intensified. Shells fell every 10 seconds now. The battery position became a crater field. A shell landed between gun number 3 and gun number 4. Blast killed 3 men on gun number 4's crew. Sergeant Reyes was wounded, shrapnel in his arm and shoulder. He kept firing. His crew, now 5 men, maintained operation. Boom! Another shell hit the ammunition cache near gun number 1. Sympathetic detonation. 30 rounds exploded. Gun number 1 destroyed. Barrel bent. Carriage shattered. Corporal Santos was thrown 15 feet. 2 crew members died instantly. Battery M was down to 2 operational guns. Gun number 3, Calugas plus Quezon, and gun number 4, Reyes plus 5 men. Japanese infantry launched second assault. This time, 400 men, 2 companies coordinated with mortar support. Calugas saw them coming. "Quezon, empty the cache." "Sarge, cache is 40 yards away." "I know, move anyway." Quezon sprinted to the ammunition cache. Shell landed 20 yards behind him. He made 3 trips, brought 12 rounds total, each trip shells falling. He survived. Calugas fired continuously. Load, aim, fire. 10-second cycle. His hands were bleeding, flesh torn from loading. He wrapped them in cloth, kept firing. Boom, boom, boom. Gun number 4 matched his rate. Sergeant Reyes, wounded and bleeding, directed fire. Boom, boom, boom. Combined fire, 12 rounds per minute. Japanese advance stalled at 2,000 yards. They dug in, began suppressive fire with machine guns. Bullets cracked overhead. Calugas ignored them. He kept firing the 75mm. Crisis. 12:31 hours. Japanese artillery found gun number 4's exact position. 3 shells in rapid succession. First killed 2 crew members. Second wounded another. Third destroyed gun number 4. Sergeant Reyes survived. He crawled to gun number 3, bleeding. "Calugas," Reyes gasped. "I've got 2 crew left. What do you need?" "Ammunition. I'm down to 40 rounds." "Cache is destroyed." "Then we use what we have." 1 gun, 40 rounds, against 400 Japanese infantry, artillery, machine guns, mortars. "We hold until we're out," Calugas said. "Then we hold with rifles." Reyes nodded. "You're insane." "Probably." Calugas loaded another round. Boom! Solo defense. 12:35 hours. For the next 23 minutes, Sergeant Jose Calugas operated gun number 3 essentially alone. Quezon was wounded, shell fragment in his leg. Reyes was semi-conscious from blood loss. Calugas did everything. Computed firing solutions, adjusted elevation, loaded ammunition, pulled lanyard, cleared misfires. 1 man, 1 gun, 40 rounds. He fired methodically. Each round counted. Boom! Infantry concentration, 2,200 yards. Direct hit, boom. Machine gun position, 2,400 yards. Suppressed, boom. Mortar team, 2,300 yards. Destroyed. Japanese artillery continued falling every 10 seconds. Gun number 3's shield was peppered with shrapnel, the trail legs damaged. Calugas's face was cut, his uniform shredded. He kept firing. Boom! Round 10. Command post, 2,500 yards. Boom! Round 15. Ammunition cache, 2,350 yards. Secondary explosion. Boom! Round 20. Infantry assembly, 2,100 yards. The Japanese couldn't understand. They'd destroyed 3 guns, killed 18 crew members, landed 200 shells on Battery M. But one gun kept firing. One gun. Alone. Methodical. Relentless. Japanese attempted third assault. Advanced to 1,800 yards. Calugas fired 8 rounds in 90 seconds. Shell impacts shattered the formation. They retreated again. Boom! Round 28. 12 rounds remaining. Final stand, 12:58 hours. Japanese launched fourth assault. Final push. They committed reserves. 600 men, 3 companies, coordinated with mortars and machine guns. Calugas watched them come. 12 rounds against 600 men. He loaded round 29. Japanese infantry at 1,600 yards. He could see individual soldiers. Boom! Direct hit. Men fell. Boom! 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 Rounds 30, 31, 32, 33. Japanese advance slowed but didn't stop. 1,400 yards now, within machine gun range. Machine gun fire raked the battery. Bullets ricocheted off gun number 3's shield. One hit Calugas's helmet, dented it, didn't penetrate. He adjusted his helmet, loaded another round. Boom! Round 34, 1,300 yards. Japanese went to ground. Boom! Round 35, 1,200 yards. Boom! Round 36, 4 rounds remaining. Then, help arrived. Reinforcement, 13:02 hours. Captain Funk, commanding Battery B, had been watching from 1,000 yards away. When gun number 4 was destroyed, he made a decision. Move Battery B forward. This violated doctrine. Reserve batteries don't displace into active fire zones. Battery B's 4 guns displaced forward 800 yards, arriving 13:02 hours, just as Calugas fired his 36th round. Battery B, target, infantry in the open, range 1,200, fire for effect. 4 guns fired simultaneously. Boom, 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 boom. 20 rounds in the first minute, then 20 more. Japanese assault collapsed completely. They couldn't advance against 5 guns. They retreated 600 yards, then 800, then broke. Calugas fired his final 4 rounds. Round 37, 38, 39, 40. Gun number 3's ammunition exhausted. The barrel glowed red. Steam rose from the breech. Calugas stepped back, his hands destroyed. Raw flesh, blood, burns. His face cut, his ears bleeding, his uniform shredded, covered in dirt and cordite. Captain Funk reached gun number 3. "Sergeant Calugas, stand down. Battery B has this." Calugas looked at his gun, then at the battlefield. Japanese infantry in full retreat, 1,200 yards away. The Abuke line held. "Yes, sir," Calugas said. He collapsed. Medical personnel reached Battery M at 13:15 hours. The scene: 4 gun positions, 2 guns destroyed, 2 damaged, 16 dead, 12 wounded, shell craters everywhere. Calugas regained consciousness 5 minutes later. A corpsman wrapped his hands. "Sergeant, You need evacuation. No, I stay with the battery. Captain Funk nodded. Let him stay. He's earned it. They counted results. Calugas had personally fired 40 rounds from gun number 3 in 67 minutes under continuous artillery fire. Battery M total, 180 rounds from 3 guns, then 40 additional from gun number 3 alone. Combined with Battery B, 280 rounds fired at Japanese infantry. Japanese casualties, estimated, 87 killed, 140 plus wounded from artillery alone. Japanese 122nd Infantry Regiment assault failed. They withdrew 2,000 yards, did not attempt another assault on that sector for 4 days. American and Filipino casualties in Battery M, 16 killed, 12 wounded, 2 guns destroyed, 1 gun damaged, 1 gun operational, gun number 3. News spread through the Abuque line within hours. Soldiers who witnessed the 1,000-yard run told others. Battery B's crews described watching one man operate a 4-man gun alone. By evening, General Jonathan Wainwright, commander of I Philippine Corps, had received multiple reports about a Filipino sergeant who'd single-handedly kept Battery M operational. Wainwright visited Battery M on January 17th. He woke Calugas. Sergeant Calugas, I'm General Wainwright. Tell me what happened. Calugas stood, saluted despite bandaged hands. Sir, I saw Battery M go silent. I ran forward, got the guns operational, fired until ammunition was exhausted. You ran 1,000 yards under direct fire. Yes, sir. You operated a 4-man gun alone. Yes, sir. Private Cason helped load, sir. He deserves recognition. Sergeant, I'm recommending you for the Medal of Honor. Sir, I was just doing my job. Your job was staying with Battery B. You chose to run into a fire zone to save men from a different battery. That's not your job. That's heroism. Wainwright left. Calugas returned to his foxhole, slept 14 hours. The Battle of Bataan continued for 3 more months. Battery M was rebuilt. They fired until April 9, 1942, when U.S. AFFE surrendered. Calugas' action on January 16th had immediate and long-term impact. Doctrine evolution. Before January 16th, Philippine Scouts operated under standard doctrine. Reserve batteries remain in reserve. Forward displacement into active fire zones prohibited. Calugas violated this. He succeeded. After January 16th, artillery commanders began authorizing more aggressive forward displacement. If reserve batteries could displace forward quickly, they could save forward batteries and maintain fire superiority. This spread through informal channels. Battery commanders sharing lessons learned. By February 1942, at least 3 other instances of reserve batteries displacing forward occurred, all successful. Combined casualty rate for forward batteries dropped from 40% to 28% in sectors where reserves could reinforce. Integration recognition. The U.S. Army in 1942 was segregated. Filipino units served separately with lower pay. Calugas' action demonstrated courage and competence transcend ethnicity. An uneducated Filipino farm kid from Iloilo saved American lives through tactical brilliance and physical courage. When Wainwright recommended Calugas for the Medal of Honor, he wrote, "This soldier's race is irrelevant. His actions speak for themselves. He is the equal of any American soldier." That language, equal of any American, was significant in 1942. One student story. Sergeant Miguel Alvarado, Filipino-American, enlisted 1948. He attended artillery school at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Instructors used Calugas as teaching example. 1 man, 1 gun, 40 rounds. That's the standard. July 1950, during defense of Pusan perimeter, Alvarado's battery was overrun by North Korean infantry. Battery commander killed. Senior officers fled. Alvarado took command of 2 surviving guns, operated them with reduced crews under direct fire. He held 3 hours firing 180 rounds, stopping North Korean assault. Later he said, "I remembered Calugas. If a Filipino sergeant could hold a position alone in 1942, I could hold mine with 2 guns in 1950. Alvarado received the Distinguished Service Cross. Enemy perspective. Japanese 65th Brigade after action report. January 17, 1942. Captured document. Regiment 122's assault on American artillery position at Culis failed. Despite successful counter-battery fire destroying multiple enemy guns, enemy position remained operational. Enemy artillery continued firing throughout assault. Our casualties: 82 killed, 140 wounded. Recommendation: increase counter-battery fire duration. Japanese commanders couldn't understand why. They destroyed 3 of 4 guns, killed 16 crew, wounded 12, but Battery M kept firing. Lieutenant Takeshi Yamamoto, 122nd Infantry Regiment, survived the war. Interviewed, 1963. Question: what happened during your assault? Yamamoto: we were told American artillery was destroyed. Then shells landed on our assembly area. The fire was continuous, accurate. We estimated at least 4 guns, perhaps 6. We learned after the war only 1 gun remained, operated by 1 man. If we had known, we would not have believed it. That is not possible according to our training. The failed assault had cascading effects. Japanese began overestimating American artillery strength, became more cautious, slowed their advance. This gave US AFFE time to reinforce positions. Japanese captured Bataan April 9, 1942. They expected to capture it in January. 3 months' delay disrupted their entire Pacific timetable. Calugas surrendered April 9, 1942. He survived the Bataan Death March, 65 miles, during which approximately 600 Americans and 10,000 Filipinos died. He was held at Camp O'Donnell, then Cabanatuan Prison Camp. Conditions: starvation rations, disease, beatings. Calugas survived 3 years, 4 months as POW. During captivity, he never mentioned his Medal of Honor recommendation. Other prisoners didn't know. He worked construction, dug latrines, survived. When asked after the war why he didn't tell anyone, he said, "Everyone there was suffering. My recommendation didn't make me special." Liberated, January 1945. He weighed 98 pounds, 42 pounds less than pre-war weight. Medical exam revealed chronic malaria, intestinal parasites, partial hearing loss. He was evacuated to Australia, then United States. While recovering at Letterman General Hospital, San Francisco, he learned his Medal of Honor recommendation had been approved. April 30th, 1945. Medal of Honor ceremony at Fort Bliss, Texas. General Douglas MacArthur personally presented the medal. Calugas wore a new uniform, his old one destroyed in captivity. He said later, "I kept thinking about the men who died. Chen, Morrison, Parker's crew. They deserve medals too." After the ceremony, Calugas requested return to active duty. Request denied, medically unfit. The Army offered medical discharge with pension. He refused. "I'm still fit for service, sir." Compromise. He was assigned to Fort Stotsenburg, Philippines as artillery instructor. He trained Filipino crews from 1945 to 1957, 12 years teaching the next generation. Students remember him, demanding but fair, technically brilliant, modest. He never talked about January 16th unless asked. When asked, answers were short. I did my job. Others did theirs. We held the line. He retired 1957 as Master Sergeant, 32 years service. Returned to Barrio Tagsing, Leon, Iloilo. Bought a small farm, grew rice, raised chickens. He married, had 4 children. Neighbors knew he'd been a soldier. Few knew he had the Medal of Honor. He kept it in a drawer, didn't display it. It's not for display, it's for remembering. Jose Calugas died January 16, 2010, 68 years to the day after his action at Culis. He was 102 years old. He died peacefully on his farm, surrounded by family. He was buried with full military honors at Libingan ng Mga Bayani, Heroes Cemetery, Manila. January 16, 1942 lasted 67 minutes. That's how long Sergeant Jose Calugas fought alone at gun number 3. 67 minutes that stopped Japanese breakthrough and gave 78,000 troops 12 more weeks to resist. One man, one gun, 40 rounds, against 600 Japanese infantry, artillery, machine guns, under direct fire, alone. The mathematics. One Filipino sergeant plus one 75mm gun plus 40 rounds equals Japanese assault stopped, a bouquet line held, history changed. But the real equation is deeper. Courage plus duty plus brotherhood equals heroism. Calugas could have stayed with Battery B. He could have followed doctrine, survived. Instead, he ran toward the sound of guns and held a line that wasn't his responsibility. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and share. Tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We remember Sergeant Jose Calugas, Philippine Scouts, Medal of Honor, January 16, 1942. The man who ran toward hell and held the line.